is Natalie. I'm here helping people wake up in general and sexually, and just wake up and expand their consciousness and reconnect to themselves emotionally and physically. And we just had Yom Kippur in Israel, which is a Jewish holiday, and it's all about forgiveness. And I wanted to talk a little bit about forgiveness because I saw a lot of posts on Facebook and they're like, okay, fine, you know, all these people are asking me to forgive them, and that's great because it's tradition, but I don't know how to forgive them. Like, I hate them. They've done something really bad to me and I don't know how to forgive them. And so asking for forgiveness is one thing, and it does demand a lot of courage to ask forgiveness from someone else. But then there's the other side of the story, and a lot of us don't know how to forgive other people. We hold a grudge and we just can't seem to let go, and the block creates and recreates an emotional loop again and again and again. So how do we forgive other people for hurting us and doing bad things to us? Because, you know, a lot of the times we're angry at someone and they're asking for our forgiveness. You know, our anger is justified by their actions, and, you know, we have a right to be angry at people. But like I said, the anger becomes an emotional blockage, and that's not healthy for anyone. And we do want to learn how to forgive other people. And I don't think it's that easy, but I do think it's possible. And there are a few stages that I teach people how to forgive others. The first step would be compassion. So I don't have to forgive them yet, but I can try and understand their points of view, why they did it, and what they meant by doing what they did, without putting myself in the story yet. But and we can do that by stepping back from the situation. So if someone hurt me and I want to forgive them, I could take the situation, whatever they did to me, and tell myself a story that it happened to someone else, and I would try and understand it from the bigger picture, from outside of the situation, by putting myself out of the story and imagining the story as someone else's. So if someone was supposed to meet up with me and then last minute they couldn't, and I'm just so angry and fuck you, we were supposed to meet and there's no forgiving. If I try and distance myself from the situation, and I say, okay, so that person was supposed to meet someone for dinner, but last minute something happened and they couldn't go, and, you know, they were really sorry about it, but they just couldn't go. So they didn't do it on purpose. So it wasn't something against me personally. So when we distance ourselves, we're able to look at the situation differently. And bring in more compassion, because as long as the story is about us, it's very hard to shake the emotions and understand the other person, because we're just so deep in our pain. But if we distance ourselves from the story and we look at it from the outside and we try to understand the other side without putting ourselves and our emotion into the story, then with a lot of compassion we can at least understand why that person did what they did. It doesn't mean that it's okay, it doesn't mean that we forgive them, but we can start to understand why they did what they did. That's the first step. The second step is also part of compassion, but it's, you know, we're all human beings. It could be me. I could have done this to someone else, but we forget it when you know, we're the ones hurt. I would never do that to someone else. No, you could do that to someone else. Don't be patronizing like I'm an angel and everyone else is from hell. Like, we all have our setbacks and we're not perfect. And, you know, this time someone did that to me, but another time I could have done that to someone else. So it's not only understanding their points of view and where they're coming from, but it's understanding that they are you and you are them. And in a different situation, different time, different place, it could be you in that position. And the third step to do with compassion is to understand their pain. So if someone, like this works best with parents. If I'm really angry at my parents for doing something when I was a child, you know, that's not okay, and there's no, you know, there are some things that parents shouldn't do to their children, then it's not okay in any way, like hitting a child, for example. But using compassion, if I distance myself and I see that, you know, it wasn't personal that they hit me, but when they were growing up, their parents hit them, and that's how they know how to educate, and that's the love that they knew from home, and now they're just giving the love back the way they got it. Like, it's not their fault. They didn't do it on purpose. They didn't do it to be mean. They didn't do it to hurt me. That is what they knew to do. Like, and that's what they knew to do because that's how their childhood was. So compassion is the main key for forgiving other people. And forgiving someone doesn't mean that you're okay with them hurting you. It just means that you see their point of view, you see their side of the story, and although it was not okay and your feelings were hurt, you can forgive them for doing that because you realize it wasn't personal, intentional, and it wasn't just to do you harm. It's just, you know, that person was going through something and it's not about you. And it reminds me about the 4 agreements, that one of them is not to take things personally. So, you know, we're each stuck up our own asses, and most of the time people do things to us. It's not really about us, but it's about them. And we're always a reflection to other people, just like they're a reflection to us. So if we learn how to stop taking things personally, then we'll have less to forgive other people for. That's the trick. But I think compassion's the key, understanding the other side, seeing it from their point of view, understanding their situation, forgiving them despite being hurt. And if anyone has hurt you and you do decide to forgive them, it's okay to share your feelings and say, you know, I forgive you, but it made me feel this and this and this. Because once we start sharing our emotions and actually talking about them with other people, we can avoid the situations in the future. The problem is most of us don't know how to talk about our emotions. We're too embarrassed, it's too personal, it's too intimate. I don't want them to think anything badly about me, and we don't share. We don't talk about it. So communication is another amazing way to forgive other people and to forgive ourselves. Communicating with them, explaining them, you know, how it made us feel. A lot of the times, by the way, when we talk to people about how they hurt us, we'll discover through the conversation they did not mean that. They meant something else completely, and it was not their intention. We can start forgiving them a lot easier. But we don't talk about things. We don't share our emotions. We don't expose our truth to anyone but ourselves, and we keep it bottled inside, and that's how emotional blockages are created. So compassion, understanding their side, seeing the whole picture, and communicating are the steps that I recommend people, if they are trying to forgive someone and they can't find a way or can't find the power in them to forgive them. You know, it's not like that, but if we do some inner work, we meditate on it, and we see the bigger picture, we bring in the compassion, and then after we've done that, we actually talk to them about it. You know, that's the best way I know to forgive other people for hurting us. And we want to forgive them because not forgiving them is like not forgiving ourselves, and we also carry that around with us, and we hold a lot of resentment, and resentment also causes emotional blockages, and you know, we just don't need that shit in our system. So we need to let it go and forgive people and just let shit go, basically. It's not easy, but there is a way, and anyone can do it, and it's possible, and I believe in you. I know you have the power to forgive others and yourself. So yeah, that was my message for today. I hope you liked it. I'll see you soon in my next video, because I am doing one a day until this YouTube channel starts working properly. All right, I love you. Bye.